Hi, and welcome to the Warrior Moms podcast. Today, we have a little bit of feedback. Today is Wednesday, September 30th. And in addition to it being both my sister-in-law's and my niece's birthday, which happy birthday, by the way, it is apparently International Podcast Day. Which is a thing, according to my husband, and a quick Google search that I had to do right before the show. So it is International Podcast Day. So to all my fellow podcasters out there, today is your day. You are doing great things and keep going. Sorry, somebody was just knocking on my door. So you're doing great things, people. Keep doing what you're doing. But I am your host, Trina Rothman, and joining me tonight is my friend and executive director of the Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance and fellow warrior mom, Shena Daly Pearson. Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on tonight. I'm really excited about this.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to have you on. I've been trying to get you on for a while, and you're a little hesitant. You're like, no, it's more Tristan's story. And I'm like, well, Warrior Moms is more your story. So it highlights parents and what they're trying to do and what they're out there doing for their kids, raising awareness, advocating for their children. And, we say this all the time. We definitely want parents to not feel that they're, alone or not in a part of a community. We want to create this community for them. And Shena, you are a warrior mom. You inspire me with everything. And I want to thank you for coming on to the show. And I'm like I said to you before, this is my show, but I give it to you. So this is you take over. Everyone, this is Shena.
Wow. I'm so excited. This is my first time on a podcast, and I will tell you, I am a little nervous. I've become comfortable with the world of Zoom. So hang in there with me. I do have some notes that I'm going to refer to. So I was very excited to hear from a local newspaper of ours just recently. And as I shared with you earlier, they asked me to write up an article. And so all of us in the world of epilepsy, we get very excited about the month of November. So November is National Epilepsy Awareness Month. So I'd like to just share that with you because it tells a little bit about my story, and then it tells about how we transitioned and where we are now with a nonprofit. Who would have ever thought we were going to end up with a nonprofit? But that's the direction that we were led, and that's where we are today. So I'd love to share that with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my story begins with just being born and raised right here in Galveston County. I'm a simply devoted mother and caretaker to a child with epilepsy. His name is Tristan J. Pearson, and he bravely fights every day of his life through the morning myoclonic seizures and the weekly life-threatening tonic-clonic seizure hypoxia that cause him to stop breathing. So here's our story. Our story of epilepsy begins with his diagnosis at age 12 in August of 2013 while visiting my godparents in Huntsville, Texas. And I have to tell you, that was so unexpected. That was a trip. We were getting ready to kick off a new academic school year, and we wanted to take a trip and just get away. And I called my aunt and uncle and said, can we just come visit? Let's just meet up. And we'd been wanting to. And so we did. And so we were in Huntsville, Texas, when Tristan ended up in the emergency room. So after his diagnosis, Tristan really struggled. He found that having epilepsy was not easy to talk about with others, which left him feeling alone and excluded. And it wasn't just Tristan feeling that way. I was also myself feeling that way. So unfortunately, we did some testing, and he ended up in the hospital for 3 weeks. And through that process, he was actually told to hide his condition to keep from being held back in life. He wasn't just told that by someone on the unit. He was told that by friends and family of ours. And so it was a real struggle on our side of things because we felt as though we should maybe just keep it quiet and not tell anybody. And through that process, we noticed that his health was declining. And it was declining pretty quickly. So we knew we had to do something. So Tristan decided it was time to make a difference by raising awareness. So we sat down, we talked about it. We said, what can we do? We don't have support in our county. What should we do next? So he said, his go-to words are, it's time to tackle epilepsy together. So that's what we did. So we entered into a 5-year partnership with the Epilepsy Foundation Texas, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, West Texas, advocating for the passage of Sam's Law for Texas schools that requires all Texas public school personnel to be trained in seizure first aid. And after receiving his rank of Eagle with the Boy Scouts of America, Tristan and a very large group of our membership decided it was time to establish GCEA. So GCEA is the Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance, and it was established to support and improve the quality of life for people with epilepsy. So GCEA is a 501c3 charitable organization that provides direct services to individuals with seizure disorders and those touched by epilepsy in the Gulf Coast areas of Texas. So our vision, we talked about what should our vision be? What do we want to see for the future? And that is to achieve a society where no person's life is limited by epilepsy. And we went ahead and we sat down and we wrote out 7 strategic aims. So I want to tell you a little bit about the great work that Tristan and our board of directors and our advisory committee members and our volunteers and everybody involved in GCA, what they're working towards. So we have a referral assistance program. So anytime that one of our members or somebody in the community needs guidance for a physician referral or a therapy referral or an at-home EEG system, we have those referrals to provide. We also provide individual and family support services. So on the second Thursday of every month, we meet up. We are currently online. We were meeting at the Galveston County Center here locally to have an opportunity to meet face-to-face, but with COVID, we are now online with Zoom. So we hope to eventually get back there one day, hopefully in the near future. But as of right now, we have our second Thursdays online with Zoom. We're also launching 2 new programs. It's for parents with those children that have epilepsy, and the newborn to 5 years of age. We have some parents that would like to connect. So we're in the process of launching that program. And then we also have a youth teen chat group that we have now launched. And so we're really excited to have that. So that's also a once a month event that we're going to be able to provide. And we have a website. It's www.gceatx.org. And all of our events and activities and everything are provided on that resource page. So we raise awareness of epilepsy and SUDEP. So SUDEP being sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. We serve as advocates for the rights of those with epilepsy. We provide community-based training and education to save lives. We teach seizure first aid, and we support epilepsy research to find a cure while maintaining ethical and best practice standards. So I also want to share with you that GCEA is a 100% volunteer-based nonprofit. And again, our support group is held online with Zoom every second Thursday of the month. So if we have any parents, anybody out there connected to epilepsy, we would love to connect with you and join on Zoom. Our support group runs a little bit differently. And sometimes when you hear the word support group, you think, oh, it's very formal and you have to tell your story. And it's not like that at all. We are an extended family is what we call ourselves. We really, truly care about one another. We connect not only on Zoom, but prior to COVID, we were able to meet up. We have what's called an out to eat for epilepsy, where we would just pick a restaurant. We would all meet up. We would just have a fun time, enjoy each other's company, give updates, provide support. So again, I just want to mention, to learn more, please go visit our website. It's gceatx.org. We do have a new subscribe button that's on there. So our website did get an upgrade. And so we have that feature that was added. And we also have another new feature that we're really excited about, which is an online gift shop. So if you like to shop and you want some epilepsy related type pieces, we have some really cool stuff. And every month we're loading new pieces. And my favorite part that I'm so excited about is that we have offered to our membership to be able to draw your own t-shirt, your own design, put it together, and we submit it to a printing company. And I want to give a shout out to our friends. Jen Sweeney is in the Bay Area and also in Galveston. And we're going to have his link also on our website so that you know where everything is coming from. But we want to shout out to them because of all the great work and help that they've done, donated all of their time to help us build this online gift shop. So we're really excited about that. So I wanted to talk to you guys also about one other, well, actually two things, but one is we had a mission that we were on to make our Texas schools safer. And so I know you're all tuning in from all over different locations and different places. So I just wanted to mention, we were able to get a law passed here in the state of Texas, and that law is called Sam's Law. It was House Bill 684, and it requires all Texas public school personnel whose duties include regular contact with students to be trained in seizure recognition and seizure first aid. And that was such a big undertaking. And there were so many people. There were people from all over Texas that were calling in and writing in and participating. And so it was a very large effort. But I just want to say thank you to each and every person that joined in on that mission to make Texas schools safer. The law also reads, people who interact with children with epilepsy on a daily basis need to be trained to care for them if they have a seizure. So let me just also mention, Sam's Law ensures that Texas public schools are well equipped with the tools necessary to get trained, because we want to provide a safe and enriching environment. So to get trained, all you have to do very easily is go to www.samslaw.org and sign up for the training. It's completely free. It's online. It's available to everybody here in Texas. So please don't hesitate to take that training completely free.
Yes, absolutely. And you know firsthand that my daughter has benefited from Sam's Law. You know, I've shared the story, and I've shared it with you, and I've shared the story on the show, but my daughter wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for Sam's Law, because my daughter had a seizure on her school bus and they didn't have her rescue medication. And just like Tristan, she does not breathe during her seizures. And so they were able to give her first aid in order to sustain her long enough that I was able to bring in, just through mom tuition, which is something we talk about on the show, like mom tuition, left work early because I'm just getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like I left work early thinking something might happen. I just needed to leave. I left work early, drove up right behind the bus as my daughter is having a tonic-clonic. If those bus drivers didn't know, the bus driver or the aide didn't have that training, which they admit they did not know until they had the forced training, my daughter wouldn't have survived that, because she would have been face down in her own, I don't know, just her own vomit. You know, it's just, that law has, you guys, when I say this, like, laws are created to help people. They're created to make the world a better place. They're created to do things. Like, if one person is benefited from what you guys did, that's a success. And you guys, to just solidify that for you, it was a success. My daughter is here today because of the work that you guys did. And so for that, I will be forever thankful.
I love that. I really do. These are the stories that touch us, that really motivate us to keep going, to keep raising awareness, to do more, to do better, to keep our loved ones safe. And that's really it. And, the numbers are just outstanding. So 1 in 26 will be diagnosed with epilepsy, but 1 in 10 will have a seizure in their lifetime. So think about that. 1 in 10, that could be an aunt, an uncle, a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad. I mean, so many of your loved ones could be impacted and have a seizure in their lifetime. 1 in 10. That's just crazy numbers. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. It is so hard to think about how, and I say this a lot. I use this analogy because if somebody got shot in front of you, you would know what to do. You would know that, I need to cover the blood. I need to, keep the blood in the person's body, and that somebody needs to call 911. But if somebody has a seizure in front of you, you don't know what to do. The odds of somebody 1 in 10, and 1 in 26 with epilepsy, the odds of somebody having a seizure right in front of you are exponentially greater than somebody getting shot in front of you. Yet you know what to do if somebody were to get shot. But most people, when they see someone having a seizure, what do? They back away because they don't know what to do. And so that was, that for me was just like an aha moment when I started reading, like when I first started researching epilepsy and started really getting into all this stuff. I was like, holy crap, like nobody knows about this. And this is so common. Like, what are we doing? And so, I know you're very shy. I know that like the focus is that you want to like share Tristan's story, but you yourself are a warrior. You are out there, your son has done amazing things in Eagle Scout. I mean, not many people achieve Eagle Scout level without epilepsy. So you're out there, helping your son. You're out there doing all these wonderful things for your son, and you're raising awareness. You are a role model for so many people. And I hope that you understand that. We do have some questions because we are a live show. We do get questions from the audience, from our viewers, from everyone who loves warrior moms. So I just want to bring on this question. What age was Tristan when he was diagnosed?
He was 12. He was 12 years old. And we were just thinking about this the other day, like how many years has it? It's been 7 years. It's been 7 years since his diagnosis, and we've been on a roller coaster. So we did start off on the low end, and then we did gradually get him to a point to where he was actually a year seizure free. I mean, we worked really hard, but we got him there. And then wouldn't you know, he being 12, 13, 14, and then hitting that growth spurt, one summer he grew like 4 inches. And so it just changed everything chemically inside him. And so everything shifted, and we ended up having to start over from scratch again. And so unfortunately, even though we were able to make it that year seizure free, that roller coaster has now shifted again, and we're on the low end. And so we're trying to climb back up. We do know that his VNS that he has, it's a vagus nerve stimulator. It's an implant that's in his chest, and it's supposed to help control seizures. We do know that his battery is getting low. So matter of fact, he will be meeting with his epileptologist, his neurologist in the near future, and they are going to talk about actually getting that surgery date scheduled. And so we've been kind of talking through and wrapping our heads around what does that mean and what does that feel like. And Tristan's in a really good place right now with that, and he's ready. So we had promised him his senior year of high school, we were not going to do any hospital stays. We didn't want any visits. We didn't want any surgeries. And here we are finding out that the battery is running low, and we might have to move in that direction. So, but to answer the question, he was 12. He was 12 when he was diagnosed.
And my daughter, so, it's so crazy because it's that puberty. It's like puberty. I mean, you have the children that are diagnosed as infants and toddlers and things like that. But then puberty, there's just a little something, because my daughter, same thing. She was 13 and a half when the first one happened. One other question, and then we'll move on with the show. How long ago did he have the VNS put in? How long do the batteries last typically?
So the batteries typically last for a few years. So we knew there's a range in there, and it actually depends on how frequently you're needing to swipe the device, you're using the device, how high your settings are. So that that timeline is determined by the usage. Tristan is on a very high setting for his age and his size and his stature. So he's up there. We're aggressive. We want to stop seizures. So, and surprisingly, he's passed his 5-year mark, which is amazing because we never ever thought when we first implanted the VNS, we never thought that we would run that long, but we have. And so that's pretty exciting that because of it being such a high setting and running the way it does, it's lasted a long time.
Yeah, I thought it was like every 2 years because, this is something that we're considering for our daughter, but right now we're having seizure freedom. So we don't want to rock the boat, knock on wood. We don't want to rock the boat. So we have definitely considered, we use Dr. Von Allman in the Texas Medical Center, and we were discussing it back in January, but now that we're doing so well with things, VNS is something that we're just, it's kind of simmering. So it's good to know that, 5 years and not 2 years, like I thought. Like the potential is there for 5 years. So
exactly.
Let me go back to my notes. Oh, and they also, and then we do have a couple of my friends that I'm just going to say hi. Susan, hello, and happy podcaster day to you. She's actually hosts a podcast herself. So it's called the Find Her Seat podcast. So if you ever just go to Facebook, find her seat. And my friend Tracy, she watches every week, and she actually doesn't have a special needs child. She doesn't have a child with epilepsy. She just started watching the show one day and started hearing our story and was like, holy crap, like I need to know these things. Like I didn't know this. And so we always love people that that we wake up to, that like this world that epilepsy exists. It's here. It's very much in mainstream society, and we need to be better about it. So I love when you were going over your strategic aims for GCEA. Parents with children with epilepsy. These are 2 new groups that you have coming out: the Youth Teen Chat, and I think that's awesome because, especially now, more than ever, I know my child is feeling very, very shut in, very, very enclosed. And we were at our doctor's appointment today, and her epileptologist was asking, she's like, you're home, right? And Scarlett was like, yeah, I'm home. She's like, do you like it? And Scarlett was like, nope. She misses interacting with people, but right now it's with COVID, it's not something that we can do. It's just not worth the risk to us. And since we have someone here that can help with my daughter, we just figured we were blessed in that regard, and we'll keep her home. But this youth and teen chat group is awesome. Like, I love that because I know my daughter's feeling left out and she misses her friends. And I'm sure that Tristan felt that way, during the quarantine. So I love that. And then the young children, the epilepsy group from newborn to 5 years old, that's a really good age group because so many parents, like right now at that age, you want to have the play dates and the play groups and things like that. And some parents, like if because like Scarlett did have seizures when she was little. So most of my friends are like, oh, well, I don't want to, like, I don't know, like she might have a seizure, she might not. So to have that kind of support group for that age, that's awesome. I love that.
Yes. And actually, it's a result of our membership. Our members came to us and said, hey, I know someone that was just newly diagnosed. And through that conversation said, there's a couple of parents that would really like to just have a chat room so that the parents can just get together and talk about what they're dealing with and walk through the diagnosis together and share information. So I'm really excited that we have a mom that's going to run that for us. And her daughter is in her, I think she's in her 20s, but she's a mom that's been dealing with this for a long, long time and is just so knowledgeable and very compassionate. And I think it's just going to be a great fit. And then the same thing happened on the flip side for the youth group and the teens. We have members of all ages in our group. And so we had some young adults that came forward that said, we just connected at a retreat. And because of COVID, we're not seeing each other and we're feeling very disconnected. We can't visit. We can't go anywhere together. Is there something that we can do? And immediately we said, at the very least, let's get you online with Zoom so you can see each other and feel connected. And so as a result of that, there was, again, a request from our membership that said, let's put together a teen youth chat group. And so that is actually launching in October. We're going to have more details coming out. So again, anytime you go to our website, we have an events page. We have all the events, what's coming up, what's happening. And there's two other things I just forgot to mention that are on the forefront of my mind. But we have a scholarship. We just approved with our board of directors a scholarship. I'm so excited to work with the Helm family. More details about that is coming out, but that's going to allow funds to go to a college student or a trade school student that needs funds for books or scholarship or courses or classes. And so it's very open-ended, but it's for someone who has epilepsy. And so we're just thrilled that our little nonprofit, even though we've been serving the Galveston County community for about 6 years, our nonprofit is only a year old. And so I'm just thrilled that we've already had families come forward that want to do scholarships. And then just so many great, wonderful things that are coming through. So be sure to check our website often. We update it on a regular basis. I mean, weekly. I'm on there weekly adding new things. So we have our homepage, we have our founder page, we have events, we have resources, we have videos. We have Tristan's old video from a video that he had put together when he was about 13 years old. It's phenomenal. It was for a trip to Washington, D.C. to talk to some of our congressmen about epilepsy. And of course, we have our store and we have our ways to give and our contact information. So I would like to share some data and some stats with you guys, if that's okay. And then just to confirm, the question just came up was, what is epilepsy? So let's just clarify and start there. So what is epilepsy? Epilepsy, which is sometimes called a seizure disorder, is a disorder of the brain. A person is diagnosed with epilepsy when they have had two or more seizures. And so this is one of those myths that's out there. So some people will say, oh, you had a seizure, so you have epilepsy. And that's not true. And so it has to be unprovoked seizures, because we do know that with little ones, with babies, they can have a very high fever and that can cause a seizure, but that doesn't mean that they have epilepsy. So the way the diagnosis goes is that it's diagnosed as epilepsy when you've had two or more seizures. So what is a seizure? A seizure is a short change in normal brain activity. Seizures are the main sign of epilepsy. So some seizures can look like staring spells. Other seizures can cause a person to fall, shake, and lose awareness of what's going on around them. And so everything that we put out on our website, on our social media pages, that's all based on all the stats and information from the CDC. So let's just mention a couple of stats that we have related to our population and then here in Texas. So in 2015, the CDC posted that 1.2% of the US population had active epilepsy. This is about 3.4 million people with epilepsy nationwide. That's 3 million adults and 470,000 children. In the state of Texas, they report 292,900 adults and children with active epilepsy. Again, it goes back to those stats that we talked about earlier. 1 in 26 people in the United States will develop epilepsy, and about 1 out of 10 people may have a seizure during his or her lifetime. Amazing, amazing stats.
Yes. So go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So one other topic that let's just say I have a love-hate relationship with it. And I'll tell you why. So it's called SUDEP. And so Tristan, after his diagnosis, we went quite some time not being told about SUDEP. And if you've read any of the publications that we've been in or anything as far as write-ups and articles, Tristan's story actually was covered by the New York Times. There was a piece there. And myself as a parent, I feel very strongly that if my child is diagnosed with anything, I want to know everything there is to know. And when I did find out about SUDEP, I was not happy. I was not happy about the fact that I had not been taught, and this information had been purposely kept from me. Mm-hmm. What we find in the world of epilepsy is physicians sometimes do not like to share this information because they feel like the parent is already dealing with so much just through the diagnosis of epilepsy. So let's talk about SUDEP for just a second. So SUDEP is, well, let me just start here. Seizures can sometimes be fatal from a range of causes. And I know this is a tough subject, guys, but it's something that we really have to talk about, because once you know, then you can educate yourself and then you can protect your loved one, right? So no matter how the death is defined, every time it is a huge loss. There are numerous ways that a person can die stemming from seizure activity. There's drownings by accident, there's head trauma, there's suicide, and there's status epilepticus. It's a very hard word to say.
It is hard to say.
But I pray to God my son never goes into that status. So another category of epilepsy mortality is sudden unexpected death in epilepsy, as I mentioned, and that's SUDEP. SUDEP is the most common category of death in epilepsy. And SUDEP is just that. It's sudden and it's unexpected. So this is where I want to share with you, and I know Trina would like to cover this foundation in the future, so I'm just going to tell you just a little bit. But we learned about SUDEP and then immediately found a foundation called the Danny Did Foundation. So if you would like any information about the Danny Did Foundation and their personal story, you can always visit their website, but I believe Trina's going to also cover that on a podcast. It's dannydid.org. And that is how Danny passed away. The Danny Did Foundation pledges to shine a light on SUDEP for as long as is necessary to achieve major progress in awareness and in the advancement of preventative measures. And I love this foundation. So one of the other things that I'd like to share with you and announce that we have going with our nonprofit GCEA is that in 2015, Tristan and I took a trip with the Danny Did Foundation. We received one of their grants to meet them in Anaheim, California, for an event called Epilepsy Awareness Disneyland. And it was the best trip ever. It was so wonderful. We met families from all over the United States. We went into, there was training, there were advocates that were there. There were seizure dogs that were there. There were companies, pharmaceuticals, every major company related to epilepsy was at that event. And then you had the opportunity to actually go into Disneyland and to see all the people, thousands and thousands of people with the purple shirt on, was just mind blowing. I mean, we just could not believe that epilepsy touched so many people. So it was a very eye-opening experience because we were newly diagnosed. And so we just didn't realize. So we've been working, and we love the Danny Did Foundation. And so through working with them to pay it forward, our nonprofit is sending it. We tried to do it this year. We tried to send a family this year, but we couldn't do it. We're sending a family next year to Epilepsy Awareness Day Disneyland through the Danny Did Foundation. So they are going to be accepting applications. So again, if you go to our website, there's an events tab. If you scroll down, there's all the information for the 2021 with the new deadline, the contact, everything that you need to do to submit to be selected. So we're sending a family from Texas next year in 2021. And I think that's just the best way to pay it forward.
I think so too. And that's actually how we met, because somebody had tagged me in your post about, this is like prior to when we thought COVID might open and all that stuff, or the world might open and not be closed forever. So that's how you found me, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because Epilepsy Day is on my daughter's birthday. And so I was like, this is like so serendipitous, because the weekend that they closed Disney World, it was the weekend that my daughter and I were there, because I had earned a trip for work. And so, yeah, no, this is that. So that's so funny how like everything just kind of like falls back into place. And I love what you're doing with that and sending somebody, because I plan to go next year. I'm going to figure it out, because I think it's an amazing thing to do. And yeah, no, I definitely plan to go next year. So,
and let me just mention also, it is still happening this year. It's going to be live. It's interactive. It's going to be online through their system. So if you will, we've been posting about it on our social media. So you can find us on Facebook or any of the social media platforms, or you can go to our website. Again, go to our website, that www.gceatx.org. And we have all the information there. So you guys can join us. You want to come join us. There's like over 80 presenters. And again, they're making it live and interactive. So they work really hard to bring this to you. So come join us.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that they were able to reformat and do it virtually, because I mean, there's like you said, the speakers are important to me, like that's really why we would go. So before because like we've talked briefly about Tristan and his accomplishments, but Tristan has done a lot. It like more so than like I'm 35, and Tristan has like met with Congress, and Tristan has gotten laws passed, and he meets with mayors. So tell me about Tristan's advocacy.
So it started again with the diagnosis and being told, don't talk about it. And we had to get to a good place. And then we said, okay, we're going to talk about it. We're going to speak up, because we both felt like the only way that we're going to figure this out is if we network. We really wanted a network of people. We really wanted to bring everybody together and share information, because what we found was there were other people just like us that just didn't have the resources and the information. And we did not have any resources in our community, in our county. So we sat down, we said, okay, we can do one of two things. We can keep doing what we're doing and be quiet and watch your health progress in the wrong direction, or we can stand up, stand tall, and let's just talk about it, and let's get it figured out, and let's get you seizure free, right? So through that process and starting the support group, which I was very naive to think, I was working a full-time job at a local hospital, single mom, thought, oh, I can take this on. This is not a big deal. It'll be like 5 people in our county. Had no idea it was 1 in 26 at that time when I agreed. And we just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And so, when God has a plan, it goes into action. So through that process, and through the support group and through our membership and having conversations, what would make it better for our community? Well, the first step was the challenge with first responders, not understanding that I'm having a seizure, and so I can't hear you, I can't respond, or I'm having a seizure and EMS is called. And so here's what you need to do for me. And so we talked about, bracelets and necklaces and, what can we do to collaborate and work with the community to keep our members safe. So through that, ended up, we moved forward with all these Boy Scout presentations with first responders, which was awesome. They were very open and accepting. They listened to Tristan's speech. He would talk through. Matter of fact, there's a video that Trina has where he's actually in his Boy Scout uniform and he's talking. He's got a microphone and he's going through and he's teaching all the different steps of epilepsy and seizure first aid. So through that process, he just had a desire to help others. He just has a really big heart and he just wants everybody to be safe. And that was my goal. I wanted everyone just to have seizure control and to be safe. So through that process, we met different community leaders. We would host different presentations. We worked with others that were doing great work in other states. And then we would say, well, they're doing that in that state. We can do that too. And so it was just a process. And so once it was like opening Pandora's box, once it opened, it was open. And so we were receiving emails and phone calls from different directions. And we would talk through that and process it and say, is this something that you want to do? And how do you feel about this? And so that's kind of where it all kicked off. And it just, he enjoyed it. He really wrapped himself into it. He would study. Most of you may know that having seizures has a direct impact on memory. And for Tristan, especially his IQ. And so he'll get words mixed up. He'll get sentences mixed up. And that's something that's not his fault. It's just part of having epilepsy and having seizures for him. And so what he found was if I write everything down and I have it on a piece of paper, I can do a pretty good job of delivering the message of what I want to say about epilepsy and how I want to raise awareness. And so that's what we did. That's how we rolled with it. We would just edit and modify and put pieces together for him. And he would stand up in front of a mayor or a congressman or a representative. We took trips to Austin for Sam's Law, and he would just go office to office and just tell his story and just as he had it written out. And he did a fantastic job of doing that. He really did. I'm a really, really proud mom.
You should be. You definitely should be because, some people can always, you have like, for example, I have endometriosis. I could let endometriosis be my label. I could do that. I could be like, oh, I have pain brain all the time. I definitely could do that. Mm-hmm. Or you can work past it and you can accept that you have it and then use that as your strength. And that's what I love most about what you and Tristan are doing because he, you said that he isn't seizure free. I know his story and you guys are still out there doing everything every single day. And some people would let that define them and you don't. And that's where Tristan, and I don't mean to make you cry. And that's where you and Tristan are inspirations to so many different people because my daughter, we're very new into our epilepsy journey. And my daughter, when she was first diagnosed, I was like, the thoughts in my head, like, is this the end of the road for her? Not necessarily like she's going to die tomorrow, but like, is this all she's ever going to be? Is she ever only going to be her epilepsy? And, today we were telling her epileptologist her plans for what she wants to do after school. She wants to open up a keto food truck and she wants to have.
I love that.
I love it too. And her doctor and her nutritionist were like, yes, we will be there. So, she's been planning it out and, she has higher cognitive function now that we are on the keto diet, which I told you about last week. But, and she's got these ideas. She has plans and she has plans for her future. And we look at Tristan because Tristan and Scarlett have the same type of seizures. And Tristan is out there accomplishing things. He's out there doing great and wonderful things at such a young age with such a strong mom. And so I know that this inspires us to do what we want to do. And so I know you don't like the credit, but you deserve every ounce of it. And so it's, you raised a warrior because you are a warrior. And he is doing, like, I'm so impressed with his experience. Like, if you go to the website, which is up here, gceatx.org, you can see all the amazing things it just listed out, all the amazing things that Tristan has done. And I mean, he's not done. He's going to do more. I mean, you said he's 19. He's only 19. So, I mean, you can do so much more, and he will do so much more. And, you know, I want to open it up because we've got about, let's see, we've got another question here. Sorry. I wonder if Mary Bass would help Scarlett, Shena, especially if she knows or wants to learn about keto.
Yes. Actually, Trina, do you know Mary Bass?
I don't think that I do. No.
She is a local chef here in our area. She's actually been to our support group meetings. She's done presentations for us. She is fantastic. We have another contact that also has done presentations for us for keto right here within our county. And so fantastic idea. We will connect everyone together. I love it. That's what we're all about, is networking, pulling people together to help one another. But we love Chef Mary Bass. She goes way back with Tristan when he was little. She would even, there was special birthday meals that she would put together for him when he was coming right out of the hospital, and just an amazing chef. And so, yes, we will do that. We will make those connections. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, see, that's great. And that's why it's so helpful to have a community, because, you know, like, just simple as that. That's why it's so important to have a community. That really is, because nobody's in this alone. Everybody knows somebody. Everybody has a connection somewhere or another. So that way we can continue to build what we're doing. And, you know, so I just want to, I want to open it up to questions and allow everybody to, if they have any questions for what you're doing. And I will say this, I'm going to post links. So everyone knows that I take notes during the show. So I'm going to post links. You know, we talked about Danny Did. We talked about samslaw.org. We, you know, obviously we'll post the link to your website. I'll post the link to the video on Tristan as well. So we are going to post all these different links for you guys. And then they'll also be in the Warrior Moms community. So it's a Facebook page. If you're not already a member, please request us and we'll go ahead and approve it. But it's facebook.com/group/Warrior Moms community. And so we'll let you in, and you'll have access to all of this as well. Where GCEA is listed as one of our nonprofit people that we kind of try to vet everyone, so we know that they're not just out there just trying to you know, make money off of our warriors. Like we try to vet them, and so GCEA is a well vetted nonprofit that's listed on the Warrior Moms page. Now, I do have, hang on a second. So I do want to say that you guys also offer community-based training. So you touched on it, and actually we had a guest on the show a few weeks ago. They offer community-based training. So there's a lot of different ways. And then of course the samslaw.org is another way to round out your training. But this is important, and this is a very simple procedure to do. It's way easier to do a seizure for somebody than it is to do a gunshot wound. I'm telling you. I mean, I haven't been around a gunshot wound, but I've seen it on TV. And
so let me just ask real quick. Are you a Dr. Oz fan by any chance, Trina?
I've always worked, so I've never been able to watch his show. Oh. Yeah. So
we love Dr. Oz. And let me tell you, he did a segment on seizure first aid training. And if you go to, and let me tell you, I've sat through lots and lots of training for epilepsy. And I've had all different types of experiences with that, the highs and the lows. But let me tell you, Dr. Oz has a piece that he put together. It's on our website. So if you go to resources, go to gceatx.org, click on resources. And again, we're adding stuff to our page every week. That page is growing so fast, but we will always keep the Dr. Oz video because it gives all the key points. It teaches you what to do if somebody has a seizure. It's well put together and it holds your attention. And he brings an audience member from her seat unexpectedly down on the floor to have a seizure experience. And she's like trying to run through what would I do? What would I do? And she's had no training. And so it's captivating. It catches your attention. And it's really, really well put together. It's very factual. It matches with all the CDC guidelines, and we love it. And so we keep it up on our website. That's one of the videos that's been there for years because we just love it that much. So if you want just a quick video, seizure first aid training, go to our website, go to that resource page and click on that video and watch it. It's just a few minutes long, but it is the best.
Awesome. Yes. And we'll be sure that we also link that too. So I have it in my notes. But anyone who has any questions for Shena or for or about the Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance, go ahead and ask them now. If you're watching on replay, #replay, please. So that way we know that you're watching it. And then also, if you do have questions, Shena is a member of our Warrior Moms community. She is very active on social media. She is very approachable. So if you have any questions, just reach out to her directly through their Facebook page or on the Warrior Moms page where I can tag her. I love what you're doing. I love what everyone comes on the show and does. Like, I have amazing people. I know amazing people. I know a lot of amazing people doing a lot of amazing things. And I'm trying to show the world that, we're all different, but we're all just trying to, get through the world. Like, we're all just trying to be here and we should make it a better place for everyone. And so I don't know, I've been kind of emotional after learning about my upcoming hysterectomy. So I think I'm going to have like all of the craziness all through the next month, my poor family. But I'm going to go back to my notes because I feel like I'm forgetting to ask you something important.
And I can also mention, if you would prefer to call, we do have a dedicated phone line. It's 409-299-5559. So if you're more of a telephone person versus an online person, give us a call if you have questions. We're still here for you.
That was 409-299-5599.
409-299-5559.
Oh, I skipped a 5. Okay. All right. So then I have that too. So yeah, I'm really bad at numbers too. Like, that's just like, if it's math or any, like if it's, there's a number in it, I'm out. So I'm a writer. So that's what that is. But Shena, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. And you and I talk frequently. We've got some things that we're discussing in the background. And so your foundation's only a year old and you are doing amazing things, and you're growing and you're going to help so many people. And that's what I love about GCEA because, there's nonprofits out there that are just doing stuff. Like they're just there for existence, but you're actually out there creating events, doing things. You have a pandemic and quarantine and you are still finding ways for people to connect. And so that's what we were looking for a year ago when we first got our diagnosis. We were looking for a community and then the community ended up finding us. So we love GCEA and the shirts and everything that you guys have in your store and your website. Everyone needs to go there. Support GCEA. Simple, shameless plug right there. So
I hope to design a shirt too.
I keep telling her she needs to design a shirt. Like, I think she was kind of disheartened when she found out that a unicorn already existed.
We have an artist. Let me just tell you, we have an artist that volunteers with us that's on board to help. And so, we can get her connected.
There we go. Yeah. Cause maybe actually an idea just popped in my head. Let me write this down. So, I think what you're doing is amazing. I think what you're going to do in the future, even though I don't know what it is, but I know it, like I feel it. I feel the energy from the universe. I know that GCEA is doing wonderful things and will do amazing things in the future. And I appreciate you so much for being on the show. If we don't have any more questions, I am going to close it down. This will be available for replay, of course, if you want to share it or anything like that. Also, we're trying to grow our YouTube community. I cannot get a handle on YouTube. Like literally, like they won't give me a URL unless I have 1,000 followers. So if you guys just feel so inclined, please just give me 1,000 follows. That would be really great. So I can have a URL so I can say, just follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/warriormoms or something like that. So I'm going to shut it down, but you were fantastic. I appreciate you so much for being on the show. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful Wednesday night. Tomorrow is October, which is crazy. So you guys enjoy your last night of September, and we will see you guys for fall in October.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Trina, so much.
Absolutely. Yes.
Appreciate it very much. Good night, guys.